guys, welcome back. In today's video I'm going to be going through how I made Makwa the Great Horned Bear, and this one will be up for grabs in my new shop at creaturesofnat.com, so stay tuned. Right, so starting off with that resin cast of a bear head, and that's something that I have sculpted, molded and cast in resin, but this time I'm going to be adding a few little details to it. So I'll be adding some horns to this little bear, and I'm making these horns out of Sculpey Original, and Sculpey Original is a polymer clay that you bake in the oven and it will go hard. So usually I use an air dry clay, but I wanted to use the Sculpey this time, so that's what I used. So, and I also put the Sculpey onto the resin and baked it with the resin. So this particular resin is fine in the oven, so it doesn't melt or nothing bad happens to it. So it works great with the resin. Just be mindful to try not to use your everyday oven and to use an oven that is specifically for just Sculpey and stuff like that, because it gives off fumes. Or if you don't have one, to clean your oven after every use so you don't get any of those nasties around. Alright, so after the sculpting some details in and making the horns a bit more textured, this is what we have. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the oven to bake and make sure it goes hard. So I usually bake it for about 20 to 30 minutes and then you're right to go from there. Alright, moving on to the painting, and I'm just going to be painting the nose in acrylic black paint from Acryl, and this is a water-based acrylic paint, and you can use any brand acrylic paint that you have around, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a Acryl one, but that's just what I prefer to use. I like the consistency of the paint itself, and it's also readily available here as it's made in Australia. And then I'm going to go around the eyes and just paint around those the lines around with that black paint again. And once that's dry, I can go ahead and paint the iris bit. But I usually give this about 2 to 3 coats of paint, just so it's not has a thorough coating on it. And I also put a base coat down as well, just so it has some texture and that the paint will stick to the resin, because resin can be slippery sometimes. And I'm painting the irises a nice red colour because I really like the red eyes with green fur, so it's something that I've done on quite a few dolls, so you can have a look back on my website to see how many dolls, green dolls actually have red eyes. It's almost all of them. So I'm using a red called Cool Red, and it is by the brand Acryl again, and it's a nice textured paint. Alright, once that's dry, this particular bear has painted eyes, so I'm going to go ahead and paint those eyes in using a dry brush technique, and it's just building upon layers of paints. That's all that needs to be done. So normally I have a little story that goes along with each one of my dolls that I've made, so here's the story of Makwa. Great horned bears are a rare creature. They were hunted almost to extinction for their horns, as the outsiders thought they might have mythical properties. It was said that whoever possessed a horn would have almighty strength. These bears now only reside in a small area of the Red Tribal lands and are fiercely protected by the Red Tribe natives. In return, the bears offer their assistance to the native people, as they have so for 500 years. Despite what many people think, great horned bears are very intelligent creatures, something only the tribal lands, or Cry India as the native call it, know. Both sexes of the bears have horns, however the males have bigger horns than the females. Great horned bears mainly eat fruit, nuts and seeds, but will often dine on meats like fish and small mammals. And that's the story of Makwa. I hope you enjoyed that. Moving on to the feet. So this is also a resin cast of something that I have sculpted and molded in and cast in resin. So same black Acryl paint, and I'm just going to go roughly paint it. You don't need to be too neat with this because we're going to be covering it with fur, so no need to be neat. So I had this body laying around for quite some time, so after I had sewn it up, this is what I had, and usually I leave the back end open, but this time I actually sewed the feet, the legs together, so I won't have to hand sew it. The legs are big enough for me to poke that through the right way around, so yeah, I can just sew it up using the sewing machine. So, and I prefer using a sewing machine because it's a lot stronger than hand sewing things, and it gets the job done a lot quicker as well. So this is what it looks like once I have turned it the right way around. And this is one of my favourite furs. I've used it on quite a lot of dolls, so I'm pretty low stock of this fur, so probably won't see it again for a little while, maybe in some bits and pieces of some new dolls. But yeah, I always wanted to make a green bear, so now's the time to do it. So as normal, I use a wire armature with this particular doll rather than the plastic ball and socket armature. So once I did that, I inserted the armature through the body itself, and it filled the body with some polyfill, touched the resin pieces using glue and stuff. But for some reason I have zero footage on that. I don't know why. Normally I do, so if you want to see that, you can check out some of my other doll making videos of how I attach that stuff together. Right, so here's the final product after I've furred the face. So I wanted to do something a little different on the snout area and added some white. So this is how they turned out, and I kept it pretty simple too. And that is it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any requests, you can leave it in the comments down below. You can also check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of Night, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!